Chris, where's your father? I wanted to start the show with catchphrases.
He's sleepy.
Is he going to be part of our draft coverage on Thursday night? Is he resting? Does he need to pace himself? Is he at the point where he has to pace himself? If he is doing a change of show regimen where instead of doing 2 shows consecutively, he's doing a show in the morning and a show at night, is he now just stamina broken?
He did say when I told him of this week's schedule, he's like, you get me for 1 on Thursday. I'm not doing both. So we will have him tomorrow, main show, and then Thursday night for the watch-along.
I also had that decree, so I'm only on live show at night.
I don't believe that we should be making decrees around here, you or him. I don't think that decrees are what we need.
I made a decree. The Marlins are playing a midweek game, and that's the only time I go to baseball games. So I will not be here. I'll be at Lone Depot.
I won't be here either. I'll see you there.
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
Zazzle, did you cut yourself shaving?
Oh, underneath here? Yo, don't worry about that.
What's on that gullet? Let me see.
Wow, it's a nice little chunk you took out.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make them cheer. Got the block start to chirp and riding high. Now it's time for action. Tonight's gonna burn this bar right up. Slap shot will light the lamp so nice. Let's go for a breakaway on the chase to raise the cup. We'll be standing on our heads till we meet them at center ice. Hockey is back, Jack. Hockey is back, Jack. Hockey is back, Jack, baby, and we'll meet you at center ice.
Did Zaslow watch that Anaheim game against Edmonton late into the night, 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday? Did you?
Okay, I didn't watch that one. But I was lying in bed, we established, late at night, after I was watching my stories. I went upstairs to bed. My stories is wrestling. And I brought out the tablet because my wife doesn't let me watch TV in the bedroom anymore when she's trying to sleep. And I was watching hockey.
When did that get banned?
A few months ago.
Oh, wait a minute. What happened? So you made it through 2 years of majestic playoff runs in hockey? What happened a couple of months
I don't know.
ago?
She feels that she's got hand now, I guess, in the relationship.
But so you've got to watch it on the tablet in a different part of the house?
No, I'm watching it next to her.
Yeah.
But like I got the
Don't be
AirPod
ridiculous.
in, and you know I'm lying next to her, pitch black,
Sucking
and
his thumb.
I got the tablet on a pillow on my stomach.
Got your Powers of Pain pajamas.
Because if
your
you're on
pinky.
if you're on your back, you'll fall asleep and drop it on your face.
Yeah, that's
So
embarrassing.
you're on your tummy.
I can't put the brightness. I got to put the brightness down a little bit on the iPad because it could wake her up.
There's nothing better. I'm with him on this than like when it's dark in a room and you put that brightness down and like
There's nothing better
feeling
than
of
that. That would be your
when
choice.
you turn down
on,
the brightness.
That would be
I prefer sex, but
that would be your choice on nominating something for the
feeling
best.
of
Okay, all right. That's
And I can tell you, Dan, if I position the iPad properly on my stomach, it kind of feels like I'm watching the TV. You know, it's because it's like the same shape.
Oh, Jesus.
So I trick myself.
You're cosplaying TV time.
I trick myself. This is really a TV I'm watching.
what happened in the last couple of months. You've been watching sports and way too much sports for way too long. What happened in the last couple of months that finally fed up your wife?
I don't know. Like I said, she feels that she's got hand in the relationship right now. Like at some point, I guess the tables turned where she feels like she's in control. But can I tell you something, okay? Because you're saying I've been watching a lot of sports. Last night was like a breaking point for my wife because it was 8 p.m., all right? And that's when my stories come on, of course, on Monday nights. And I yelled upstairs to my son, Jordan, Jordan, come on. Raw's about to start. And, like, he watches it with me. He watches wrestling with me. And my wife turns to me because she was watching TV in the family room, and she knows that means that I'm about to take over the remote and TV. And she says, it's every single night. And I go, what? She goes, I don't remember. Like, you're watching wrestling 6 nights a week.
Yeah, it's been a big week for that.
That's what I tried to explain to her. But she says, like, it's every night now. When did this start? You're watching wrestling every night.
Well, make sure to treat her real good. Today is a Tuesday. Because right back on Wednesday. You know what that means. It's Wednesday Night Dynamite.
I'll turn the brightness down extra low on the iPad tonight.
Were you watching Senators Hurricanes?
Yeah.
You were watching that live? This was before tablet time?
No, I was watching that on the tablet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you were watching.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that overtime?
I mean, it was wild, right? Like, I'm rooting for the Senators, of course, because it's always after the Hurricanes. Not the Miami Hurricanes, the Carolina Hurricanes. I feel like that's a given.
Manny Diaz did ring the alarm, the siren before.
You felt like that was a good sign for Ottawa, you know? And, yeah, the Senators, they blew it. The Senators dominated the third period. They played really well in overtime. I hate the Canes, and the Canes won, so that was obnoxious. Hockey's good, man. I'm glad
that was a great game. That was playoff hockey. Everybody eating pucks. Olmark was out of his mind. There was a game-winning
save
goal
on Kachuk. Oh, my God.
There was a game-winning goal, Dan, that got taken off the board after, like, what had happened in the build-up to the play. There was, like, a full, 90 seconds that happened after the offside. You get the game-winning goal from Martinook, and they go to the replay system. They decide, hey, no, in this build-up before the penalty, they were offside. However, in this instance, while they pull the goal back, the penalty call stands, and they awarded a penalty shot in which Martinook missed a penalty. But then later on in the game, Roy, Martinook gets to be the hero.
Yeah, absolutely. That was vindication right there for him. So good on him. Ended up scoring the game-winning goal, and now Hurricanes up 2-0 going to Ottawa.
This Ottawa team is so deep. I don't think this series is over. It hasn't started because no road team has won just yet.
Oh, come on.
I like the way they play. I think they're deep, and it's not a popular stance to take a lower seed down in an 0-2 hole, but I would not write them off.
Flyers Penguins has definitely started. I mean, jeez. Poor Damashek.
Fraud.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Was everyone eating pucks last night? There are a couple of things here locally that I wanted to talk about, including Mike Ryan saying with a straight face, you heard him say this, right? Quote, I know the brain of the Heat fan. You heard him say this today, correct?
Yeah. He said it like it was his chest out, too.
Yeah, it's a sick mind.
And he was mentioning this because he was saying if Bam were not on the Heat, he would be the disgruntled superstar that the Heat would be trying to get.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm telling you a lie right now. He is absolutely the superstar in purgatory on a middling franchise that is saying all the things after games that Heat fans would absolutely read into and Photoshop him in.
So today he's a superstar.
No, I'm saying this is the mind of the Heat fan. The Heat fan doesn't think Bam is good enough. However, if he were on another team, he would be.
That sounds like what you're saying.
Yeah, that's
though.
you.
No, I look, you know where I stand on Bam.
Where do you stand? Where do you stand on him? Is he a superstar? Is he not a superstar?
I don't think he's a superstar. I don't think he's an all-star. He's a tremendous two-way player. He's one of the best players in franchise history. We have seen the ceiling of this team when Bam is your best player. But tell me what I'm telling lies.
How are you guys defining superstar, okay? Because there's
Can he be your best player and you can win a championship?
Well, how many of those are there? 5?
Handful.
5?
Yeah, I mean there are guys like that just don't have the right supporting cast.
Jokic has won one.
Yeah, like Anthony Edwards is a superstar. He hasn't won a championship yet, but if you surround him with the right team and the right organization, he's certainly one of those guys.
But when I ask you guys though to name the superstars, the reason I'm doing this is because I guess Jalen Brunson is now becoming a superstar.
He's a superstar.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can win something with him as my best player. I don't know that. And so if that can't be the definition of what a superstar is.
But I think, Jalen Brunson's a tricky one because wouldn't we agree the reason we don't think that you could win with him is because of his stature, which we saw on full display last night, by the way.
Yeah, the stature makes it that throughout basketball history, somebody that size, unless you're Isaiah, there's no one who wins at that size as the lead player.
Allen Iverson got close, but like if we're talking about winning a championship defines you as a superstar, I don't think that's the metric.
No,
AI
I don't think that's what
was
it is.
revolutionary beyond superstar.
AI would get you seals. Isaiah Thomas was a tremendous defender on the ball. Jalen Brunson defensively, liability.
They killed him last night.
Yeah, and there, I want to talk about that game in a second. But Tony, when you mention Allen Iverson got to the finals, yeah, he got to the finals in the same way Jimmy Butler got to the finals and got swept in 5 games, and Mike has called them a failure since. Like, and we
did get swept in 5 games.
Gentleman sweep.
That's how that Lakers one felt, and that's how that Nuggets one felt.
Play on.
Jimmy Butler is a superstar, correct?
Yes, he is.
It can't be that I can win something with him as my best player when we had that conversation for
so.
3 years and then they ran into. All right,
Yeah.
like just
Amin was pounding the table that Jimmy was a superstar, and I mean he almost got there. Who knows how that bubble shakes out if everybody
Carried
stays
that team to the
healthy.
finals twice. Like, he's a superstar.
Okay, but the question before he got here was, can you win with him as your best player? And then they couldn't with him as their best player.
Yeah,
and
see,
and the other person we're talking about here, we're having this conversation as Bam when I can make a pretty decent argument that Bam's as good a number 2 as there is in the league, but that doesn't make you a superstar.
Yeah, see, your definition of that's different than mine. It's like this idea that if you didn't win the last game of the season, you weren't good enough, and that to me is bullshit. You know, like you could lose to a team that was better. Like your team is good enough. If you're in the final round, your team's good enough. You're there. You're playing for the championship.
Yeah, you say this, but Vince Carter got to the finals, never won anything, was a superstar, and when he got to the finals, got swept, and they didn't actually have a chance in those finals. That team is forgotten forevermore because that Nets team of Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson ends up getting to the finals, and it's not remembered as a winner. The Nets are a loser franchise, and that's remembered as their best season, but it ended at the end with them not actually being close because they got swept.
I mean, they lost the Lakers and the Spurs.
I mean, eye on the ball, though. The mentally deranged Miami Heat fan would absolutely be photoshopping Bam Adebayo is the larger point.
As he professes his love to his coach after the 83-point game. Like, I understand what you're saying. There's been plenty of sound. I'm sick of being in the play-in.
Well, I don't think Mike is saying that Bam actually
Purgatory.
believes Bam is disgruntled.
No, what I'm saying is, and you're getting to it, the Heat fan would absolutely decontextualize.
If it
I'm
was
sick of
somewhere
the
else.
play-in.
Yeah, wouldn't take all the other
We're
stuff.
not beating the teams that we should. Like, he's said enough things that Heat fans who have a supreme radar for these things would absolutely seize on and say, that's our guy.
Tony, what happened there? That sounded like an off.
What happened?
That sounded like an off.
It's fibula.
Mike sneeze
That's exactly what it was.
into your hands. Was it wet? It looked a little
Not wet. Not wet. It was into my because I do the crook of the elbow Dracula sneeze.
But
yeah,
you
a dab
didn't. No,
sneeze.
you didn't get into the elbow though. It looked like you were sneezing into your bare hands. That they were lower, and you were catching it like you would in a bucket.
It was close, but I was able to get to the crook. The issue is, Dan, that we're renovating the house, and yesterday I had to de-dust the walls. You know what that means? So you got the compound all over it. I know you're a homeowner. So you got the compound all over it, right? He is.
I don't know.
It almost got taken by somebody else, but he is a homeowner. Well, just close to the bone. My bad. Okay, so we got compound everywhere, right? And then I got to sand the compound down, and then the dust of that stays on the walls. So I have to sit there with a microfiber towel
You
and
do
wipe off the
that?
dust of the walls. Had a mask, had goggles, but the mask, it was like kind of halfway open, and it snuck in. So I got all the dust in my lungs and in my nose. So I'm battling through the dust right now, Dan.
Zaz, what happened to that mark on your chin? It looks like somebody hit you in the face with a cleaver.
I mean, we already established. Cut myself shaving. My God, you don't know how to. You don't sometimes shave and cut yourself, and then you walk around. Everybody asks you about it. How annoying is that? Whatever. All right, see, everybody can see now.
No, they can't see it because of the angles in here
The
and the
mic's in
lighting.
the way, yeah,
but
lower
it
the
is
mic.
it is a chunk of blood that you have on the lower part of your face. And while you say, "What's the matter, Dan? You never seen someone cut themselves
right.
shaving before?" Never before on a national sports television show. No, I've never seen it before.
What am I supposed to do?
But I'm saying you
There we go,
asked,
Zaz. Keep it tight.
You asked me a question. You ask me a question, and I will ask you. Tony Kornheiser's been an old man on television for 25 years. I have never seen his face with a cut from shaving. I've never seen anybody who does national sports television do the show with blood on their face.
Also, maybe that's why I'm here. I'm doing stuff that's never been done before.
We seize on insecurities, but we do so in the form of a question. That makes it more palatable.
Do you guys have for me, can you give me some sort of photo of Tony battling the dust? Did you get any of that on camera, him sneezing into his hand? There you have it. There. That looks like Tony
That's
reacting.
fighting a sneeze if I've ever seen it.
That looks like Tony reacting to Mike's bad opinion. That's what that looks like.
I was on board with him.
We'd absolutely be
I was on
photoshopping
board
Bam
with
Adebayo.
him. He's an all-star. He's not a superstar.
I didn't say that your opinion was bad. I said that the video they just showed me made it look like, if I just had to put a caption on it, I would say, here's Tony reacting to a stinky Mike Ryan opinion, because it doesn't look like he's battling allergies there. It looks like what he's battling
fart.
Why are we all being attacked by Dan today? This is nuts.
Ooh, I want to get attacked. I think that if you built a perfect team around Bam the same way you've built a pretty perfect no, they've built
It's a hell of a qualifier, Jeremy.
all right, so if you built a very good supporting
He
cast,
did win a gold medal. You're right.
Listen, if you build a really good supporting cast around Bam the same way you've built a really good supporting cast around Brunson, you're more likely to win a title with Bam as your number one than Brunson.
Well, a lot of the guys that are
So you're saying they haven't done that?
a lot of the guys that are built around Brunson are guys that were readily available via trade, and the Miami Heat decided we're not
that's
going
not the conversation I'm having.
Okay.
I'm doing a theoretical thing.
It's interesting because theoretically they have failed Bam Adebayo in doing that, while other teams in the East have built around like plug and play guys like Siakam. The NBA has moved away from the model that Pat Riley is still married to. They are building more complete teams right now, and the Miami Heat seem to be really struggling with this.
I always run into a problem when I have to sneeze on a plane. Like that happened to me a couple weeks ago when I came back from Colorado, because I don't want to be rude, and then like if some of the sneeze gets on the person sitting next to me, because it was just me and my wife on the plane, and I don't know how you sit on the planes, Dan, but I buy an aisle seat, and my wife gets the aisle seat right next to me.
I do that too.
We don't sit next to each other because, you know, she doesn't want to sit in the middle, and obviously she'd be the one sitting in the middle, not me. And then when I have to sneeze, it's like, if I sneeze into the pit of my arm, I don't want a little bit to go somewhere, and then it gets on somebody, and it's very disgusting.
You ever go inside shirt?
No.
Yeah, that's what I would do on a plane.
Really?
Unless it feels super like mucusy, which is rare. If it just feels like a standard sneeze, you just lift up the shirt. Boom.
Zaz, you had Dan in economy with 3 people in a seat where he sits where there's only
he
2
buys
people
all
in the
3.
seat, so he's on the. There is no 3. When you're in first class, there's only 2.
But if he were in economy, he'd buy all 3.
Zaz, how would you feel about us calling Tamara and having her maiden voyage on the show and just asking her what happened here that makes you now tablet time guy? That, like, what happened in the last 2 months that she has finally grown fed up with the television and its light?
Right. Well, first of all, she has a job. All right, that's first and foremost. Got to point that out. It's after 9 a.m.
I mean, so
already.
does Greg Cody's wife running a law firm, and she takes time out of her day to call the show on Tuesdays to celebrate
All right,
how
good
weird
comeback.
her husband is.
Good comeback. My wife.
When you're a partner, it's a little bit different.
My wife
She's
is-
got one of those real jobs.
My wife's not good under the lights. You know, she buckles under the pressure. She gets very nervous. All right, we established that many years ago when Bouchambi tried this with her, and we brought her on the air, and she was a mess. She did not like it.
Let's not take the hint. Keep pushing.
Send Chris Cody her contact information to see if we could get Tamara before the end of the show.
My man.
I'll get to that Knicks-Hawks game in a second because you guys are talking about, they gave up 5 first-round picks because Bridges was the last piece they needed to win a championship. And then all of a sudden, right, this happened. You guys remember that one brief moment in time where A-Rod changed everything by trading 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. And then for a little bit of time, I don't know how long it was, the going rate for a Bridges was 5 first-round picks when the Knicks decided that was the last piece. And then they stopped doing that. They did it for how long? Was it just a crazy spell of like 18 months where Gobert's the first human being ever that bothers Jokic a little bit every once in a while.
He's so confusing to watch in certain series because in this series, you absolutely get why they paid the price that they did. And then depending on the opponent that they get in the next round, totally played off the court. It's just a bizarre player.
Yeah, but there's only one human being on earth who bothers that guy. There's not a second one. Like, it ain't Wemby. It ain't Wemby yet. He's put up 40 points 3 straight times on Wemby.
You remember when the Miami Heat made Bismack Biyombo like a trillionaire?
Oh, yeah, in that 7-game series in 2016.
Do you remember when I yelled at Stephen A. Smith for choosing Tim Duncan over Roy Hibbert?
Everyone remembers that.
Was that my inner monologue?
You buried yourself here.
I have a number of different things to discuss locally and not a lot of time to do it. I have not yet had time to celebrate the Cyclones. The Cyclones had what Mike Ryan was calling their biggest match of the year last Thursday, and they have survived. The team, the Highlight team that we own, as we continue to try to keep Highlight alive throughout the region and internationally by owning a team, a defending champion team. What happened in the last game, the penultimate game, you were terrified, you were scared, you were mad at the television, and that wasn't even the most important game. This was the most important match of the season, was it not?
It was, because it was a win and in scenario for your Cyclones. Now, there was an interesting development in Battle Court, Dan. The players were complaining about the balls on this new court. The balls would get cold as the game would go on, and it would lead to some pretty unpredictable bounces. And for a team that is built via backcourt, Dan, that is a huge problem when our world-class backcourters cannot read the back bounce, the rebotes. You got to be able to read the rebotes. Anyways, more consistent play out of the pelota now, and it resulted in us, beating down the Warriors, the oldest rivalry in Battle Court, and we have punched our ticket to the playoffs. This is the final week of the regular season. We are now playing for seeding, and an interesting question is being asked around highlight circles. Do you tank to avoid Gocherry?
I say no. Anytime you do this, anytime you try to win or lose for playoff seedings to avoid to go after certain teams, just a bad omen. You just play the game, you play to win the game, and you let the chips fall where they may.
I will give you insight into our culture. Our culture is to not tank, primarily because we have no say in the matter.
Right.
Put it on the poll, please. Do you have to be able to handle the rebote? And also put it on the poll. Do you know what a rebote is? Chris, do you have that sound, please? I saw it on last week tonight, and we can't play that sound, but there are an assortment of Pittsburgh broadcasters who were trying, and rebote is what made me think of this, who were trying to pronounce the word Boricua. And
Boricua.
Boricua. I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's a bet, Dan.
Abort.
Woof.
It's draft week. Transition. Ty Simpson.
Ooh, do you see he might go to the Rams? Wait,
Boricua is the phrase for a Puerto Rican, and in Pittsburgh they are selling the hot dogs, and they're just I guess they're just calling them Boricua dogs. But in Pittsburgh, an assortment of broadcasters were trying to pronounce this word, and it's spelled at the end C-U-E, and so they were all struggling with it. Chris, do you have that sound? Play that sound of you have.
I have a bunch of them separated, so I have a bunch of different examples.
Okay, so just how do you spell, Tony? I don't know how to spell Boricua.
There's no E whatsoever. There's an E in Spanish, which is I in English, but B-O-R-I-C-U-A, Boricua.
And so let's hear the sound here from an assortment of Pittsburgh broadcasters.
Boricua.
That's tough.
Boricua.
It's almost as bad as Dan, though, let's be honest.
Borkian.
Whoa.
Borkian.
I don't get this. How is this so hard? Did nobody listen to Big Pun?
Boricua.
Boricua, morena. Boricua, morena.
They were having some trouble with that. Can you guys give me some information on the Boricua hot dog? Like what makes it a Puerto Rican hot dog? What is it? Why are they selling in Pittsburgh a Puerto Rican hot dog? I don't know what a Puerto Rican hot dog is. I don't know how it's different than any other hot dog. You will get me that information at your leisure. Somebody mentioned the draft. On Thursday night, we are, as a show, doing a live stream the evening of Thursday, and I don't know how long we'll be on, but you can watch the draft with us, and it's a big day locally because it's not just that the Miami Dolphins have a whole bunch of picks and you don't know who their players are and they've fumigated the building, and so it's just a total reset on the franchise that we have not seen before. But also, the University of Miami is going to have 3 first-round picks, and that hasn't happened in a minute. I had mentioned before that the Miami Hurricanes have never really had one pass rusher off the edge the way that they had 2 this season. Like in the history of the program, they haven't had one guy like the 2 that they had on the edges this season, because Calais Campbell is the closest thing. I guess Daniel Stubbs was, Bill Hawkins was a first-round pick, but it wasn't like this where they're the names of the draft.
Rousseau and Jalen Phillips, people sleep on them. They were highly productive players, but at the same time, I think you can say now with certainty it was a hyperbolic take in the middle of the season and you were weighing it against history, but this was a national runner-up. I think you can say with conviction that this was the best pass-rushing duo on the edge that Miami has ever had in their illustrious program history.
I mean, but I really do think I can formulate an argument on these guys as just talents that you draft. Each one of them is better than almost anyone they've ever had doing that. Just how the NFL assesses these things. Are we taking you in the top 20? Miami has had guys who come up the middle who they'll take in the top 20, but not even Calais Campbell, not Jalen Phillips. There's not something I think I can make the argument that either one of these guys are as talented an edge rusher as they have ever had. But what is it that you're most interested, Mike? You were at the spring game. You
all the prospects too for the NFL draft, because Miami has an outside shot at 4 first-round draft picks. We'll see if a front office falls in love with Keontae Scott. Everybody was at practice, and also Elijah Arroyo. Jesus. He's put together. He's got that Super Bowl glow on him. They've been at all the practices. CeCe Mauanoa, who seems to be at the center of one of the more interesting storylines right now, because it seems as though Arizona is trying to put out smoke signals that they're interested in Jeremiah Love at number 3 when most people have Mauanoa going there. Now, Mauanoa has a back injury that has come to light throughout this process. It's an asymptomatic disc in his back, but it does have teams a little bit worried. So it may hurt his stock. We still expect him to go top 10. Ruben Bain went through the news stream because of his off-the-field thing, and a very interesting reaction to that because it was a sensational headline. People wrongfully call it reckless driving when it wasn't. That citation was dismissed. Yeah,
those are 2 different things.
Well, here's what it was, an accident, because it wasn't either of those things. That's what the law enforcement people decided. And he wasn't going over the speed limit. He wasn't inebriated. He wasn't given even a field test. The officers on the scene didn't feel like that was required. What he did do, though, was this happened before his worst season at the University of Miami. It obviously, I asked around, it messed with him. How could it not? He was in a car in which somebody months later after the accident passed away. And I was in one sense, like I felt bad for the young man. That's a horrible thing to go through. You're kind of refreshed that it actually did weigh on him. He'd be a sociopath if he was just able to move on through life.
Todd McShay called the reporting on Stugotz's podcast. He called the reporter on that, called him a scumbag.
Yeah, you don't really hear that. Although Todd does tend to shoot from the hip a little bit, especially nowadays. But that was surprising because it's not like the report was wrong. Ollie Conley was first. It was just in NFL circles unseemly. I think Ollie was kind of used, and I think he was kind of used by a team that wanted to use this really tragic moment to actually perhaps tank Ruben Bain's stock so they could get him, which is an interesting move. Mesidor should certainly get drafted in the first round. Keontae Scott, who's one of my favorite players to ever put on that uniform, honestly, absolute dog. It will be interesting to see how we replace that mentality. I hope he gets drafted in the first round.
Yes, this is very exciting. Look at this. We've got Tamara's here, and I don't want to bury her in questions, but I do want to bury her husband. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to see you.
Good morning. Likewise.
Just want to know why it is that he's got tablet time now. He's not allowed to have the television on anymore over the last couple of months. He's got to watch it under the covers, hiding. What happened here that changed the rules in the house?
Sleep is important.
Yeah, but it was important before the last couple of months, and clearly you've reached a breaking point. So what happened?
I have, unfortunately, between the snoring and the bright lights, it's just time to establish some boundaries.
She says the TV emits too much heat.
Yeah, but what, and forgive me for being a nosy journalist that continues to ask follow-ups as if it's an interrogation, but what specifically happened? He's been somebody who watches too much sports in bed for the entire time you've known him. Now it's a problem. Why is it now a problem?
Snoring, she said.
Yes, it's just excessive, especially it's now wrestling. So I can't stand it. So wrestling at night.
Okay, that's what it is. So you were okay with the Heat. You were okay with the Panthers. It's these guys. It's these guys all lathered up in oils running around in tights that remind you that you're married to a toddler.
Basically.
Okay.
It's nonsense.
The breaking point is wrestling, Zaz. It's that wrestling is, it's not that it's sports. It's specifically wrestling is the problem.
And the snoring.
What kind of snoring are we talking here? Just on your back snoring, or even on his side too? Because that's dangerous.
It's all the time. It's a light rumble. It's disruptive. If I wake up in the middle of the night, it takes me 15 to 20 minutes to fall back asleep. I have to nudge him. He apologizes. It's a mess. So at least this way I can go to sleep by myself. I can enter into deep REM sleep. And then when he joins in the bed, I don't even know he's there. That's the best case scenario.
That's
so
her
no
preference.
Bright lights,
not
no
knowing
TV,
I'm there.
No wrestling.
That's the best
All right,
scenario. Not knowing I'm there.
She's got to go, unfortunately. Just one last question, random, no reason at all that I'm asking it. Have you ever been watching a news anchor of any kind in all of your history watching television, and that person has a cut on their face?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
I mean, Dan's making fun of me because you see under here, like I have a cut today, you know, and he says, who shows up to work with, blood on their chin? And that's me. I'm the answer.
How'd you do that?
Shaving.
Oh, be more careful.
Good advice. Thank you, Tamara. It is nice seeing
Thanks.
you.
This went well for me. Thank you.
Yo, you snore?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but we just did a zoom in on your face. There's a fair amount of hair on your face still. Did you cut yourself early on and decide, you know what, this is for the birds?
Yeah, like it grows back like I'm a werewolf.
That's how it works.
But that's a fresh wound, and you got like several days growth. I don't understand it. Did
5
you have
o'clock
this cut
shadow
yesterday?
at 9:30.
It's a great question, okay? I don't know who you guys would nominate because history of sports, Kurt Warner for me is the guy who shaves at 9 a.m. and by the 10 a.m. interview, he's already got stubble because his face just gives off aggressive human growth hormone in terms of just growing and sprouting hair at a rate of speed that's unreasonable. But what a great question Mike Ryan has asked. It doesn't make sense that we have what it appears to be a fresh cut in the face of a man who has stubble. That just the timeline doesn't add
I mean,
up.
it's not that fresh. It's not like I touch it and all of a sudden I have blood on my hand. It's a scab.
If I had detectives here, they would say that this is a crime scene and the evidence doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense that you're alleging this.
I did not expect this when I came in today.
Hey, I'm patient. Don't like this. Beginning to know why I'm in the seat right now. Don't like it. I think it's terrible.
Okay, the inner monologue graphic of me is offensive.
The draft on Thursday night, when you talk about the University of Miami hasn't had one like this in 15 years, or we're looking at more than 15 years, and the Dolphins are going to have their best day of the year, are they not? Are the Dolphins going to have a better day that this entire year that feels better than whatever it is that happens tomorrow is going to feel when you're going to be filled with hope on something?
I don't think the Dolphins will have a better day this season. Maybe they can snipe a good team during the course of the regular season, make you feel like you're on the right track. Also, you have a new quarterback. So if he looks good, that's a huge opportunity for you to get excited for the season. That's a big unknown. Interesting stuff surrounding Achane. There's been a lot of posturing through NFL insiders, and it's weird. If I were to read it right now and trying to read between the lines as to who this benefits, it kind of seems like the Miami Dolphins are really trying to get out there that Achane is kind of like available. So I'd be curious to see how
they've
that
done
plays
the
out.
opposite of that.
Yeah, but I kind of don't believe them. I feel like they're doing that to get attention.
Okay, so but what are we doing? So what we're saying, just to be clear, is that the new people who run the Miami Dolphins are opening the bidding on how they're going to be received by the audience by telling you publicly and loudly that the one remaining player that anyone has an attachment to is the one who's not available. Like that's where they're going to start their introduction to Miami.
We've seen this in the NBA all the time. This person is not available. We are not taking calls on this
but it's a
person.
new regime.
But we've had this discussion before, okay? And like I can't believe that your skepticism rises to the level that the people would start by lying on something that they don't need to lie about. They could just make him available privately or not. They don't need to go to an insider and say this isn't available just to drum up interest. Either people are interested or they're not.
Dan, it's been reported that they are far apart on contract talks. I think that this is part of that game.
It's also smokescreen season. Like, that's what we see now during the draft. Oh, this guy's not available. He's the number one prospect ever. Like, we're never going to get rid of him. And then you come with something nice, and it's like, okay, yeah, he's gone. And also, have you not looked around? Lying is everywhere.
I would also point out, as far as is Thursday going to be the best day of the season, like, if they didn't sign Malik Willis, I would agree with that. But every week now next season, even if the Dolphins are bad, every week now next season is going to be an opportunity for the Dolphin fan to be excited, to have interest, because you have this new toy that you're hoping can be a long-term toy.
And part of the course of these things with the star player that may or may not be available via trade is he did the part where you seize on. He didn't show up to the offseason workout. So that sends a signal across the league. If you're far apart on contract talks, if you're not showing up to the workouts, and part of this could also be the new administration being like to their fans, look, we tried. We said we valued him. We said he wasn't available via trade, but we can't come to terms. I guess we're going to have to trade him.
I understand the skepticism for a variety of different reasons. What I'm simply saying to you is that people who have earned no trust cannot open the bidding by telling us, volunteering for no good reason, volunteering the information. Well, I shouldn't say for no good reason, because if they're volunteering the information, they have a reason. But they're telling their fan base, the one guy on offense that you've seen play football and make plays for you, the one guy everyone in the league knows, oh, that guy can be a little bit of a game breaker, and I haven't seen one of those very often in a Dolphin uniform recently. That's the guy that they're going to say is untouchable to do what?
Get the price higher.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. So Adam Schefter.
Come on, guys. Why are you gaslighting us? This is how this goes.
No, the price isn't going to be made higher by. Look, the part I'm reacting to is this. The draft that happens on Thursday comes with all of these players going through a full day medical where every part of their body is tested. You think these people are so flippant with these trades that Adam Schefter's information is going to move them off of what they already think or know?
Here's what I would tell you. If they really sincerely valued him the way that they're projecting to their fan base, which, by the way, is all PR spin, they wouldn't be far away on a contract.
No, the running back position has changed so much in value that you could get Kenneth Walker for $48 million, and I'm guessing that Achane wants to be worth something like that.
Yes, and they don't want to pay him that, and he will be available if the price is right, and that's what they're signaling.
Guys, but what I'm telling you about Achane and the running back market and just how diluted all of the currency has become in that, like, Achane's going to be far apart with anybody because they've made the position worth very little. Like, Achane now, with that team, has more value than he's ever had.
It's really not that bad going to sleep watching the tablet. I watch whatever I want.
Best F1 minutes with Jessica Spatana.
After a blank space race on the calendar. Formula One is back in Azerbaijan despite its reputation for tight corners and narrow roads. F1 is putting a sprint race in Baku. On Saturday, Charles Leclerc is fearless in pole position as the sprint begins. But at the start, London boy George Russell delivers some karma to Max Verstappen, making him a move to push him wide. Max is red, but George says, don't blame me. Number 22, Yuki Tsunoda clips the wall and loses a tire after just 2 laps. At the restart, Sergio Perez has a lead with 5 laps left. It's time to go. Checo wins the sprint race, but Max and George have bad blood when the race ends. You guys see what I'm doing yet? Will there be vigilante shit on Sunday?
This
Max,
is amazing.
You need to calm down because it's lights out and away we go in Baku. Sparks fly, and Verstappen is driving like he's in a getaway car and pulls out into the lead. Long story short, Nick DeVries has a glitch and a safety car ensues. Perez is in the lead after a slew of pit stops, but he's not out of the woods yet. The one driver, Max Verstappen, has speed, but that's when Sergio Perez says, bye-bye, baby. As the race ends, Esteban Ocon goes into the pit, but the mastermind race organizers have let press onto the treacherous pit lane. This is why we can't have nice things. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton finishes 6th. The last great American dynasty, Haas, finishes out of the points, but today was a fairy tale for Sergio Perez. Verstappen finishes in 2nd, which is better than revenge. 1-2 for Red Bull is nothing new. They don't have champagne problems on the podium, but the anti-hero Max Verstappen is only ahead in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift rumors are swirling. Long live Formula One. Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, but we still have 4 races to go. In Austin, Daniel Ricciardo rides a horse named Horsey McHorseface into the paddock. Zach Brown accuses Christian Horner of cheating, and Fort Lauderdale's own Logan Sargent will join Williams in 2023. During quali, Carlos Sainz takes the fastest lap while his teammate Charles Leclerc takes a grid penalty. Martin Brundle gets snubbed by Brad Pitt. Tim Apple doesn't know how to wave a flag. 440,000 people are at the Circuit of the Americas. It's lights out and away we go. On turn 1, Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Sainz tries to recover, but gets hit by George Russell. The Spaniard is out of the race before the 1 lap is even over, and Russell takes a 5-second penalty. Valtteri Bottas' race ends early, and a safety car helps out Charles Leclerc for once. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll get in a massive collision, and debris is everywhere. Lewis Hamilton, on hard tires, leads the race with 10 laps to go, but the Flying Dutchman cannot be beat this year. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel battles to the finish in his final USGP. Baby Lando finishes 6th, and Yuki gets a point. Red Bull wins the Constructors' Championship for the first time in 10 years, a day after their founder's passing. People are crying, there's champagne flowing, fireworks are popping off. Everything is bigger in Texas, Dan, except for F1 drivers.
I guess it's time for the F1 minute here, even though I want to hear that sound
gave it
again.
away?
Je suis stressé pour les minutes de Formule 1. J'ai besoin d'énergie. Énergie.
Let's go, energy.
Oh, energy.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Circuit Paracas pour le Grand Prix de France. Les températures élevées sur le circuit signifient que la gestion des pneus va être essentielle. Charles Leclerc, le pilote automobile monégasque, fait face à Max Verstappen pour la première place. Le pilote Ferrari doit gagner pour rester dans les championnats. Mais non! Quelle horreur! Une catastrophe! Sacré bleu! Charles Leclerc sort de la course! Encore de la malchance! Il est fini! Une honte! Max Verstappen prend une grosse avance. Lewis Hamilton, le pilote Mercedes, est 12e. Carlos Sainz, l'autre pilote Ferrari, a commencé à la 19e.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
There are times that Valerie will catch me just sort of shaking my head about something, and she can usually spot when I'm being hard on myself about something. So about 10 o'clock last night, I'm just sort of shaking my head, and she wonders why. And it's the ridiculousness of me thinking that I shouldn't have allowed Zaz yesterday to call a genre of movie time travel, because that's just sci-fi. And so if I'm doing that to myself at 10 p.m. last night over that mistake, that I allowed time travel to be its own genre of movie instead of making it sci-fi, how do you think I'm going to be doing tonight or many years from now on Boricua?
Yeah, that was bad when you said Boricua, which didn't really make any sense. But to help Zaz here for a second, time travel and sci-fi are two different things.
You're so off base, Dan.
Yeah, sci-fi is like space.
Yeah, and that's like saying that shark being a genre as if shark movies are not horror.
No, but that's the thing. Shark is such a big... I'm saying shark. The thing I was asking you guys yesterday is what breaks off of its genre to become its own genre the way sharks has. No other animal can do it. And so that's the point that I was making, that there are just a certain number of genres, and now a shark goes in the heist category where where it's a different genre from action, from thriller, from horror.
When you used to go to Blockbuster Video, I mean, what a time to be alive. When you used to go to Blockbuster and you would go up and down the aisles, there would be suspense, there was drama, there was action, there's comedy. There was no shark. It never said shark.
Yeah, that's true, but also Greg Cody, the last time he was on with us before he had to rest for Thursday night's show, Greg Cody disputed what I was saying, which is the fact that Jaws is the #1 horror of all time, and he was saying that's not horror. It's its own genre. The shark is over here there are so many of these made that it's become its own genre. And it's the question I was asking you guys, like, what else is like that? Time travel is not. It fits under sci-fi. It's not a time travel movie. It's a sci-fi movie.
To Zaz's point, Back to the Future. Would you call that a sci-fi movie? It is.
Nope.
It is a time travel movie. There are time travel comedies.
Time travel,
Hot
dog.
Tub Time Machine.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Back to the Future a sci-fi movie? Yes or no?
Also, baseball. Baseball movie is its own genre. There are dramas. There are comedies.
That's sports.
No, baseball is totally separate from all the other sports movies. There are so many more baseball movies.
Yeah, but you could do
That's
that with
fine,
every
but it's
sport.
a
There are
sports
hockey
movie.
movies, there are football movies, there
That's
are baseball
fine.
movies. Like
Okay, but baseball is the genre that supersedes the rest of them.
But it doesn't make it a non-sports genre.
Can we
It
all
is. It's its
subscribe-
own genre. Baseball movies are totally separate from the rest of them.
You're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah, can we subscribe
That's
to
ridiculous.
Zaz's Blockbuster Video analogy?
So much
That's a
better.
good one. When you walk down the aisles at Blockbuster Video, the shark movie is classified depending on the plot, either sci-fi or horror.
Unless I go into one that knows great many things about marketing, and during Shark Week they have just all their shark movies in one area because that's the way a clever person decided to do it, because the shark movie is its own genre.
You're making an exception for a special seasonal rack?
I'm
this
making
is ridiculous.
I'm making
We're talking
an
bare
exception
bones
for the shark.
This is crazy. This is worse than the
MLB
HFA.
Network does that.
Do you have the sound of me saying Boricua incorrectly? Borique.
Whoa.
That's gonna be like Spo with the Pistons calling the timeout when he didn't have one. You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night like Boricua
On my deathbed.
on your deathbed. I'm
Yes.
gonna be next to you, and Roy's gonna
Yes,
be there and be like,
yes.
"I'll never forgive you."
Yeah, you're gonna point and laugh at me. Borique.
Morene,
Boricua.
Borique.
morene.
Borique. Can you tell me
Morene.
something about the Boricua hot dog in Pittsburgh, please? I didn't know there was such a thing as a Puerto Rican hot dog.
Combines Puerto Rican flavors with Pittsburgh style.
I'm in on this.
Features a hot dog topped with sofrito beef, sauerkraut, American cheese, yellow mustard, ketchup, braised onions, and potato sticks. It seems like the only thing that is Hispanic about this whatsoever is the sofrito and the potato sticks. Other than that, a completely regular hot dog.
Pablo Torre is going to join us, but I think, Chris, you should just play randomly in between his answers the way that people in Pittsburgh pronounce Boricua.
Boricua.
To be fair to them, like if you're thinking like with a Hispanic brain of like, all right, I don't know Spanish, but like let me try and figure this out. The Cua, the C-U-A makes sense to them in their mind.
Boricua.
I heard an L in there.
That didn't sound like Cuba, CUA. That didn't sound like the mistake that was being made by any of the other broadcasters except the first one.
Borkia.
That doesn't sound
Something about Kia.
That doesn't sound like Cuba. That doesn't sound like Cuba tampoco. That one does. Pablo Torre continues to do extraordinary work. Tony, give me a little bit of a sampling of some of the deeper terrain that Pablo has been mining here over the last couple of months, all of the deep dives that he has done into very serious subject matter to make the old gray lady proud.
Yeah, the right-wing takeover comments. Oh, it's okay. Haven't heard that one before. Prince banned documentary. The only thing that he's seen, nobody else has seen it. Okay, great. All right, cool. Share a squirrel with L. Duncan. All right, sure. Don't go to the Lakers. We unraveled the case of the mob hit that save Vegas. That one actually is interesting. I might listen to that one.
This is a fascinating window into the Hispanic brain, as Tony called it, by the way. Thank you for letting me see a live focus grouping.
Do you want to know the brain of the Heat fan? Because Mike Ryan claimed to know that earlier in the show. Are you
Mentally
interested in that brain?
Yeah, mentally ill. It's sports MAGA. There's a whole cult of personality. There's an ideology. There's a refusal to capitulate. There's the eternal optimism that the next time it's going to work out while you're left holding the bag.
Then you yourself are the Tea Party.
No, who's the Donald Trump, Mike, of
Pat
of
Riley?
MAGA?
Pat
Of
Riley.
course.
And then Jeremy is, those what? What?
Cash Patel.
What?
Dan Bongino.
I think Bongino's a good one for Jeremy. I'm Tucker Carlson.
Can you guys get for me, please, anything related to Cash Patel so that I can just put up on the screen a means impersonation of Cash Patel? Before we get into Pablo's newest reporting, this is a cool story, by the way. We have not seen a lot of examples of him getting as close as he has to the idea that the Onion is indeed going to get InfoWars from Alex Jones. This is something that has been talked about for more than a year. And before we get to that, though, Pablo, just what are your thoughts on what's happening at The Atlantic and in government, where Cash Patel, the FBI director, is behaving like a frat boy, according to reports. He is suing for $250 million because The Atlantic has reported an exhaustively reported story that has, in some cases, as many as 9 sources on the information. Things that are really embarrassing, drinking way too much, so much that you have to be woken up by staffers and they can't wake you up, missing meetings, running around when you get locked out on your computer telling everybody you've been fired because you're so afraid to lose the power. What do you make of what is happening all around Cash Patel and a journalism industry, Pablo, that 10 years from now I don't think is going to be fortified enough to do this kind of reporting if future governments are able to take over what this game plan has been?
It's fascinating to see the FBI. Again, the FBI director as a job was once a job that really struck terror into the hearts of anyone who dared oppose it. And so Cash Patel, on a couple of levels, he's had enemies emerge, not only among media members, clearly, at The Atlantic, in terms of what they're reporting that he doesn't like, but also actual, what he himself called the deep state, the agents, the federal agents who work inside of the FBI. And so it's important to remember, the FBI is not staffed by woke ideologues. A lot of what the pushback has been towards Cash Patel has revolved around how embarrassing it is that, again, a former podcaster who trafficked in conspiracy theories around how Donald Trump is basically the second coming of Jesus, how that guy is running the foremost intelligence agency in America. And so from that perspective, you're getting people who are just horrified that that guy has his finger on what feels like the controls of the deep state. And these are other deep staters, not journalists. And so all of these people come together. And in this story, to just zoom out on it, they are filling in the blanks. And they also interviewed hospitality workers. This is a sort of panoramic view of stuff that lots of people have been saying piecemeal, including, by the way, us at PTFO. We reported a story about how much Cash Patel loves hockey. This is before he showed up, obviously, in the locker room of the gold medal game where the USA won, and he was chugging beers and stuff. We reported that on Sundays, the FBI knows to leave him alone because he plays on his rec league hockey team in D.C. called the Dons. And how he loves, and he's one of the guys, right? I mean, Roy's a hockey bro. He knows what it's like. I mean, this is sort of a portrait of what this guy is really into. And so this story, a $250 million lawsuit, what it smells like to me is desperation. It's a guy who has no other moves to make outside of threatening and trying to intimidate using an apparatus that used to be a lot more threatening and intimidating. And meanwhile, I think the larger rumor is, this guy's about to be fired. Donald Trump will fire him because he's now useless to him.
I want to show you and play for you some sound that we're late getting to as we're, at war with Iran, and Pete Hegseth in a cabinet of fools and people that are
military incursion,
incompetent, that are trying to break the government. the idea that Hegseth would, in the pages of the Bible, while in the middle of war, would read to a breakfast group of Catholics while, incidentally, J.D. Vance is telling the Pope that he needs to be careful how he speaks on matters of theology. These goons, these clowns, these imposters, and these incompetents. Hegseth doing this at a prayer breakfast and reading straight from what he thinks is the Bible. What did you do with this?
They call it Caesar 25:17, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17. So the prayer is Caesar 25:17, and it reads, and pray with me, please. The path of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1, when I lay my vengeance upon thee. And amen.
Where does he think that's from?
The Bible.
Imagine bowing your head solemnly for Quentin Tarantino. That's incredible.
How did
It's
nobody
incredible.
perk up?
It's because it's too dangerous to perk up. I mean, look, I am Catholic, all the sacraments, got married in the Catholic Church, all of that. It's sort of the outer limits of what I thought was even possible in the world of humor with this administration, that we are now, with J.D. Vance, an adult convert to Catholicism, and Pete Hegseth, who is proclaiming his religiosity, we are actually asking non-rhetorically the question, is the Pope Catholic? That is what they are doing. They are challenging the premise of, like, I know you guys think that the Pope is a real authority on the word of God, but what about me? And then they do that. That's the pretext for what that scene was. And it's, Dan, at a certain point, the joke does tell itself. Like, that's where we are. And if you want to pretend like they're religious when they do this stuff, when Donald Trump is truly posting a photo of him AI generated as actually Jesus.
A doctor.
Sorry.
Red Cross worker.
Doctor.
I actually thought for a moment that he might not know what Jesus looks like because he's so pretending to be Catholic that he may have been fooled by the idea that it was a doctor. I could have found my way to believing just that he doesn't know Jesus that much that he would think it's a doctor.
Best theory that I've gotten, which you'll notice this when he's talking about those that are seeking political asylum, he'll often say, like, they're from insane asylums. Right, yeah. The best explanation that I heard is someone on his team gave him, like, the reason, like, just say the image was doctored. And all he retained was, like, I'm a doctor.
Yep. I've heard that theory. That's my favorite theory, too. Can I just say one more thing about the Trump Jesus stuff? At a certain point, there was, I think it was actually, it was pre his election. He's asked one of the most, I don't know if you guys can pull the video. I'm sorry, video team.
No, they can't.
I'm sorry. He's interviewed by John Heilman, I think Mark Halperin, and Trump is being interviewed by them. And they ask him, what's your favorite book of the Bible? And he can't come up with one. Then they say, are you an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy? He says, both. Like, he just does it. It's one of the great tells, and it happened before he was even elected. And everything since then has basically been worse than being unable to quote anything or even identify which book of the Bible or Testament that you liked.
I think his response was all of it. All of it. I can't just pick one. All the verses.
It's like when he was
2 Corinthians.
He was asked what is what's the best book of all time, and because he hasn't read any books, it's like mine. Yeah,
Art of the Deal.
Yeah, Art of the Deal. Can you just tell me though, as the finds out guy, what do you think happened there with Hegseth? Like, give me your best theory on what happened there that he's quoting Pulp Fiction instead of the Bible.
I think it's perfect. I think if you largely consume religious principle through whatever your media diet is, and you don't actually go to any of the places that try to authentically teach you what God is supposed to be or could be or might mean, you end up just retaining movie quotes. And who cannot relate to that on some level? Like, if you were to poll Americans, what's your favorite Bible verse? I'm guessing some people might accidentally quote Pulp Fiction. It's just different, though, when the guy who's doing it is also in charge of the war in Iran and is also trying to beat Americans over the head with his religiosity because they're not religious enough.
I have a number of things that I want to get to with you today from your recent reporting, but what is it that you're most excited to share? Because you've got one thing that you've done with The Wire. I'm sorry, it's a Wired Investigations. It's not The Wire. It's a Wired investigation. It's not your investigation.
A very different investigation if it was with The Wire.
That is correct.
So cool.
We did take notes. We did take notes on a criminal conspiracy, one might argue.
It would be cooler. But Wired investigation reveals some stuff with the MSG surveillance program that is kind of crazy. But I also think this Onion story is just delicious.
Yeah, I mean, look, yesterday we had the pleasure of making Meadowlark Media history when Alex Jones reposted a clip of Pablo Torre finds out. And so when a shirtless Alex Jones is furiously tweeting about this company, I think we've, on some level, made it or the opposite. I can't tell if this is a peak or rock bottom, but we're now sort of beefing with Alex Jones. And so to be along for the ride on this story with The Onion, and for those who are not familiar, The Onion had a year and a half ago declared that they had just gotten the rights to InfoWars in bankruptcy court because Alex Jones, for those unfamiliar, runs InfoWars. Alex Jones had falsely claimed that the Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax, resulting in, and this is an important statistic, the largest defamation payout in American history, $1.4 billion. That guy had to go and put his stuff up for bankruptcy. And so The Onion, after a year and a half of legal fighting, has finally struck a deal. We broke the news yesterday, and we interviewed Ben Collins, the CEO of The Onion, about it, and we're now beefing with Alex Jones. So, congrats.
So
Dan.
it costs $81,000 a month. What do they intend to do with it?
So they've done something that I think is more than just like a stunt. I think they're making a real media enterprise. They've hired Tim Heidecker of Tim and Eric, who is, for those unfamiliar, he's an incredible artist and comedian and actor, to be Alex Jones. And so The Onion has done this thing over time when every part of media that becomes ascendant, they end up, of course, parodying. And so it started with the newspaper, The Onion. It went to the Onion News Network, which was cable news. It went to Clickhole, which was a BuzzFeed parody. And now they found their podcasting arm, their YouTube arm, which is InfoWars. And so they've hired Tim Heidecker. They've hired one of the producers behind Nathan For You, which is one of the great shows. And so they're going to make stuff with it. And I think it's just a rare thing to have like a horrible abuse of free speech that results in punishment because you've been victimizing the parents of, murdered children, for that to result in actual comedy that might do some good. It's just one of the rare feel-good stories at this rate that we have sort of been able to experience recently.
It's not just smart. Is it good business? Because it's clever, but paying $81,000 a month to take an established brand that you are and an established audience that you are now turning into parody material, my guess is you're going to lose the entirety of that audience. But you've bought a brand at $81,000 a month. There aren't a lot of media outlets that have the firepower or the credibility to turn that into something. Turning it into comedy so that Nathan Fielder and types like that can actually do something in an alternate space is smart as an idea. Is it smart as a business?
I mean, look, it is one of the swings that like giant media companies used to make and independent ones couldn't. And so it's definitely an ongoing experiment. We are going to have to buy a lot of the pills they're going to sell. Like, to be clear, that's the other part of the business is that like they're going to have to sell Alex Jones brain pills. And so we're going to need to buy a lot of those to support this project. That is unfortunately also part of the business.
Before we get to the Knicks and MSG, here's that video you requested of Donald Trump.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, video team.
You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible, the whole Bible is an incredible, I joke very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
I mean, it's pretty good. Pretty good answer.
Also pretty good.
Mere moments ago, Pablo Torre won yet another award. Pablo Torre finds out has won the Sports Podcast Webby Award alongside New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce.
Where we share it?
Yep.
Sorry, I mean, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Holy
Don't clip
shit.
that.
I mean, it's live.
Oh.
It's live. Jeremy, any particular reason you said it like that?
What do you mean?
No human being talks the way you delivered that news. That's not how anybody talks.
That's how you talk, Dan.
Oh, goddamn.
Borique.
Why are you lashing out at me? I'm just asking why it is you delivered breaking news as if it was your time to shine.
That's a very personal question, and I'd rather answer that at another time.
Pablo, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks to your support, Dan. The Kelce brothers and I have always been peers, so it's good to be recognized simultaneously.
The Kelce brothers could not be here, so Pablo will accept their award on their behalf.
Do you
I'd
know?
like to thank Taylor, my sister-in-law, via this podcast that I co-share with, award that I co-share with her future husband.
That is one of the worst acceptance speeches I've ever heard. Your lack of grace.
Was that an impersonation?
His lack of grace is amazing. But here's the other thing. Let me let you look inside of the soul of Pablo Torre, because much like Mike Ryan knows the brain of the Heat fan, I know the brain of this man. Do you know how much work he's put into tying beer-swilling Kelce brothers who show up at their podcast and just belch into a microphone and call Taylor Swift? So to tie them, when the amount of work and danger to tie them, he's insulted by that.
I don't think you watch New Heights.
I'm not insulted at all. So hold on. I don't like that implication. How dare you try to psychoanalyze me on live, whatever this is, this program that you do. How dare you? How dare you? The Kelce brothers are incredibly talented. They are models of American masculinity, and I endorse them as well. Please don't get mad at me, Taylor Swift fans, that I'm now realizing might not think that this is a bit in any way.
You were not excited about this news. I would think as much as you love winning awards that would have been exciting, and you weren't excited because
I gotta confess something. I'm glad we're doing this live, I guess, now. The awards thing, I don't know. My nerve endings, I think, have been burnt off. I just don't think they do it for me anymore, Dan. And I don't say this because I've won too much. I still have not intellectually. I say that because I was hoping they would fill the void. And what?
Very good.
Why?
Hispanic chicken.
Are you tired? Are you tired of winning awards? Is that what you just said?
No, I'm just saying I don't know. I think we just did something live that I did not anticipate, which is that my response to winning a thing that I am genuinely so proud for our staff and for this company and all this stuff, it just, the EKG chart, man, I'm like dead inside, I guess. I don't know. I thought this would make me happy and it doesn't.
I've
So we
won
just
so
found that
much
out.
that winning isn't everything and money isn't everything. And I've realized I have all these things now and they aren't everything.
Tell you
Okay,
what,
buddy.
send the message along to whoever's sending the Slack to go ahead and vote for you guys.
What if the real podcast award was the friends we made along the way, Mike?
He just reacted to winning podcast of the year to my nerve endings have been fried off. Like, what kind of acceptance speech is that? I've never heard that response to somebody being honored by something.
Guys, I got a lot of fronts going on. I'm fighting with Alex Jones. I think James Dolan is trying to potentially investigate me. I don't really know what's happening right now. I thank you to the Webbies. Can you clip that one?
I got a question for you, Pablo. You know better than most. Can I start photoshopping Kawhi in a Heat uniform, or do I need to stand by for a punitive measure?
Oh gosh, I've been waiting to talk about this with you guys. I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it yet, but I can't. Please, if I may pray to Pete Hegseth's Jesus, please, Lord, make Kawhi Leonard a member of the Miami Heat. Please.
Let's make an agreement. Yes. Because you seem to want that too.
This is big.
If that happens, you got to promise to lay off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you know how this is going to go necessarily.
So you're saying we can lowball him? Maybe Tyler on a pick? Take it or leave it?
I think what he was just saying.
He's setting a trap for the Heat is what he's doing.
We'll throw in a tree.
We're not falling for this again.
He's setting a trap for the Heat fans.
Happened with Terry Rozier.
That's what he's doing. The reason he's praying for it.
I'm not doing anything.
The reason you were praying for it with your fingers crossed is because you wanted Mike Ryan in Miami embarrassed by trading for Kawhi, and then there's a Terry Rozier situation, and the penalty makes it so that Miami is actually laughed at.
You're the one that's going to have to deal with Cortez on a daily basis.
I was going to say, the number one person who might assassinate me at this rate would be Ryan Cortez. It would be very easy for him to do that at this point.
The Knicks story was interesting, and again, it's Wired's investigation, and Pablo is just giving it to the public. And this is MSG's statement, I will say, for legal purposes, quote, "This story is built on false, misleading, and unverified allegations, including claims drawn from lawsuits filed by litigators." I didn't want to read the word rapacious. We've categorically reject such reckless reporting and are actively evaluating our legal options against Wired. End quote. What is Wired reporting that MSG is so bothered about?
Yes, so thank you for reading that legal disclaimer. This is the part where the show that we do is both very silly and also trying to dance between the raindrops of litigation from a very wealthy person and his billionaire assets. So MSG, if you listen to James Dolan, has said for a very long time that safety and terrorism are the concerns. The reasons why he has installed what has been the most cutting-edge facial recognition and surveillance program among any sports team and any of the sports arenas that exist in America. And what Wired, in collaboration with PTFO, and they did the bulk of the reporting, and all we did was make sure that we felt comfortable co-signing this by doing a bit of reporting of our own, which we so enthusiastically did. What we learned was that, first off, and the New York Police Department does not send its data to MSG. The FBI does not share its most wanted list into the MSG system. So immediately you're like, okay, wait a minute. So if terrorism is the claim and that's not what's happening on the back end of the system, what do they use this surveillance for? And the answer is exhaustively detailed in the episode we did and in the reporting that Wired published, which is that, for instance, James Dolan and the Knicks, their security apparatus, they spent, I believe it was like 20 or so pages, a file that we obtained tracking second by second with internal cameras, a transgender superfan, as she was moving around the building. There's a whole dossier. When I say second by second, I mean we have timestamps, we have photos from the cameras, we have the descriptions of what's happening. Hugged security guard, moved down to section 10 whatever. We have that exhaustively, right? So they're watching a trans person go in and out of the bathroom, literally, and associating with MSG employees that she was, at that point, friendly with. That's one example. Another example of what they do, we got a group chat from Garden Security in which we see in text, in the transcript of this group chat, reminding me a little bit of the Pete Hegseth chat that was hacked into, or not even hacked into, excuse me, that was just added into that Atlantic reporting. There was a security group chat in which the guards are watching the fans. And as soon as a fan chants sell the team, they scramble. You see the text scramble. We gotta sell the team in section 10 whatever. And they send the guards to try and find them. And they play like Marco Polo with those fans trying to identify them. They heard a Dolan sucks. They're scrambling to another part of the building. That's part of what they're doing with this security apparatus. There's also, by the way, the basic fact that James Dolan gets a readout, a briefing in which the tweets that are said about him are read to him. So if you've made jokes about James Dolan on Twitter, James Dolan, it is entirely likely, has read them. And what they do with those is that they sometimes, according to the reporting, they will call up a local police department in, say, Colorado, not even in New York State, to tell them that apparently, in the case of one story that was reported, some 14-year-old in Colorado was tweeting mean things about James Dolan. And so the picture that emerges is an incredibly personal and incredibly petty security state that is not used for safety, but it is used to punish critics and to prevent the embarrassment of the guy who does not realize that through attempting to prevent embarrassment, he is only embarrassing, obviously, himself and his team.
James Dolan has received over $1 billion in tax breaks over the years. What is the one thing that you think fans should know about a billionaire owner being able to keep tabs on fans that say bad things about him this way?
That this is how it starts. It is very telling and worrying that James Dolan is the first real case study we have of this, because he is both the cutting edge and also just the start. Steve Ballmer, the Intuit Dome, they have replaced standard ticketing in Inglewood, California, with your face. You've seen this, I'm sure, at other arenas. You've seen it at the airport. And the airport, is one thing. I can imagine the argument for it. I opt into that. I'm not saying that surveillance for the sake of safety is insane. I am not one of these radical people who believes that we should not have security in any regard at airports. But at a building that takes, in the case of the Garden, certainly tax breaks and public money, as we expand out to the privately owned arenas that we all think are some mixture of both our favorite place to be because we can express ourselves, we can boo, we can cheer, we can criticize, we can praise, and also is a civic institution that does have some sort of hand-in-hand relationship with our government. I think we just got to change our expectations for what the people who own these teams want to do with us, with the fans. And if you don't express any amount of discomfort about that, if you don't just go along with it, I think you're really running an experiment in which you're giving tacit approval, tacit license to a version of sports that may seem sort of sci-fi and abstract
time travel
until you see what they're doing.
Have you been following this Sam Altman, Elon Musk lawsuit stuff? Because for those of you who have not, what seems to be happening here, and Elon Musk is saying that AI is more dangerous than nukes, and Sam Altman, according to reporting by Ronan Farrow and others, seems to be an uncommonly ambitious liar at every turn. And so the thing that I wanted to ask you about that is, it seems to me that Elon Musk is the OG of sort of creating all of these evil sort of descendants who are now these very young Sam Bankman-Frieds or the guys running the poly markets, where these tech bros have just learned all the things they needed to learn from Elon Musk. And now he's like Mark Cuban, and there are sharks that are younger than him. And Elon Musk is now suing Altman. What is happening here, and what are you interested in here as OpenAI becomes a kind of threat that I think people are vastly underestimating?
I will rewind it, actually. I think it starts with Bill Gates and Microsoft, and Steve Ballmer occurs in that story too, incidentally. But I say that because the type of person that we've seen from Bill Gates to Mark Zuckerberg to Elon Musk to Sam Altman and to all of the AI founders in Silicon Valley now has been a common thread. And technologically, of course, we can be afraid, is this a nuclear weapon? Is this Geraldo's vault in which we're all promised something and it's not in there, right? You can have that debate, and I think it's very interesting when annihilation is part of the sales pitch, right? That's something to the argument that's happening between Musk and Altman. But the larger picture that I think is important for people to remember is that the common thread through all of those tech CEO founders has been anti-competitiveness. It has been wanting to be a monopoly. It has been preventing regulation. And the reason why that's interesting to me is because Elon Musk was in business with Sam Altman. Now they want to kill each other. There can only be one, right? How does that matter to anybody who's listening, who's just a fan, who's a customer in America? It's because Silicon Valley has been so deeply against anything resembling government oversight of AI, of social media, of any of these tech platforms. So against regulation. And the reason they say it is because we need to innovate. We need to beat China. The problem, especially, and this is before the era of this administration, which is so deeply corrupt, obviously. The problem is, in the absence of competition, you get worse products. The customer is not prioritized. The through line in all the topics we're talking about, from surveillance to AI and all this stuff, is that the customer comes last. They don't think about you except to mine you for money. And if you don't regulate artificial intelligence, which neither, by the way, Elon Musk nor Sam Altman want, if you don't provide some government oversight with a government that is not here to also mine you for money, which is the whole story of this administration, then you're entering a world in which the products you get are worse. The economy you live in is worse. Like, that's the last note on this whole spiel I have, is that the government, if you are pro-capitalism, needs to be regulated, because in the absence of it, you get corruption. You get what happened in Hungary. And the reason I bring up Hungary is because J.D. Vance was just campaigning over there, praising it. And what happened? They lost in a massive landslide election. Viktor Orban lost, this autocrat who's most similar actually governmentally to the United States. And why did he lose? In part because the economy fucking fell apart. The people were like, oh, we're worse. We're worse off as customers. And so forget about what you think about the lib principles here. If you care about your own welfare and the products you use, you should be deeply concerned that these are the people in charge.
Pablo Torre finds out he wins awards and yawns about it because it's merely a tie. Thank you, Pablo. You should listen and watch what it is that he's doing, because it's pioneering, it's groundbreaking. He is doing things in the space no one else is doing except for the Kelseys. Thank you.
Gracias.
We were awesome that segment.
He just won with Jeremy Taché.
Because Jeremy was an alleged journalist last night. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Jeremy, who is an up-and-comer in the broadcasting game and is someone who has now journalistic credentials around, literal credentials around the Heat and the Marlins. Yesterday he was hosting. And this is one of the great things, Stugotz, this time of year. We get it so infrequently around here in South Florida. But South Florida has always done this well. The rest of the country always makes fun of, you guys don't care about that sports that much. You're bandwagon people. All right. Many of us are. Not everyone is. The loyalists are super loyal. But Miami does the bandwagon better than anybody. Miami does. Everyone now show up for the party. And so you have, stunningly, a hockey arena in the Everglades, surrounded by airboats and alligators, filled with people to do the wave, watching the game on television. And at the Heat, across the street from us last night, Jeremy Taché is watching the end of that game with a lot of people who are excited. And Stugotz, I'm getting a lot of this. Jimmy was out of bounds, and it ended up being a 3. That was a goaltend ref culture win. Okay, whatever. Tell it to the people who were yelling and screaming around Jeremy.
How about this? 1-1, we're coming home.
Okay, who's we?
Yeah, I took the Heat in 5. Anyone else?
He's right.
All right. The Knicks are watching this like everybody
2
else.
rounds ago.
It was a long time ago, understandably. Here's Jeremy Taché not being a journalist while covering, again, an arena filled with people, but no players or athletes were there.
You're catching us right now as the Miami Heat have just won Game 2 of the NBA Finals. You can see that this crowd here is hoisting babies into the air. This crowd is ready from the moment this game started, and it has continued here as the Miami Heat have just upset the Denver Nuggets. You got fans going crazy. We're high-fiving. Everybody's ready for an unbelievable night right here in Miami. The Kaseya Center was ready for a great night from the jump as this energy
around. The entire lower bowl was electric from the moment this game started until the moment it ended. As we pan out to the rest of the crowd, you can see the entire lower bowl going absolutely crazy to end this game. The Miami Heat have just won it as Jamal Murray's shot has not gone in. I cannot believe what I've witnessed around me. There were moments in the fourth quarter where I couldn't hear myself think. I don't even know if you can hear me on the microphone. What a night at the Kaseya Center as the Miami Heat take their first game, their first win in Denver, and I know that this crowd right here is ready for an unbelievable party Wednesday night, Game 3 here in the Heat's house. Guys, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy Taché doing that on one tank of oxygen.
Not a single breath taken. He was like one of those free divers that go down for 20 minutes at the bottom of the ocean. It was a record. And if you're listening just by audio and not watching, what you didn't see in that noise is there were 11 actual babies tossed in the air. Just infants
Seems
that were.
reckless.
It does, but hey, it's game 2.
Right.
Wait till game 7 of this thing.
Right.
11 babies, a fetus.
It's not going 7. I said 5. I mean,
That's right.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
The energy was actually insane. I don't remember any of that. I feel like I blacked out as that happened. It sounded like I was losing my voice. I wasn't losing my voice. I literally was just unhinged. I don't remember it. It was really amazing.
You blacked out. Excellent work by you, blacking out as a impartial observer of games.
Well, you can't be impartial if you're holding a microphone that says Heat TV.
My job
Right.
is sales
and
in that.
high-fiving
You're
people.
emceeing.
Yeah.
Emceeing is really sales.
I'm
right?
there.
Yeah.
I'm there to make sure everybody's ready to be at games 3 and 4. I'm there to make sure that everybody is ready to be at the road rally. Bally Sports, the heart of the fan.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Batard Show. Would the Zeller minutes look the same if you replaced him with a newborn giraffe?
Or that newborn baby that was being hoisted into the air.
The giraffe would just be more distracting. I feel like we'd have more success.
No,
It'd be
Zeller's
like,
plenty distracting.
Porter
He's right
Jr.
now.
would be like, why is there a giraffe on the court?
No. Listen to me. Zeller is a strong human being. He is a big human being. And when he starts balling around there.
I can't take my eyes off of him.
Well, no, nobody can. Nobody can. Jokic, you're hoping to distract Jokic. It's dangerous. It's like having a wrecking ball just move through the court, but it's like on a hinge that's not safe, and it's just swinging through, and you got to be careful because every once in a while they'll put one in with an offensive rebound, but everyone be careful because it might fly into the stands. The Zeller minutes are amazing. Yeah. They're a joy to watch.
Oh.
Against the Spread is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Roy, what do we got?
Kings at Avalanche tonight. The Avalanche are 1.5 goal favorites. Take them against the spread.
Tony.
A lot to choose from tonight in the association. We've got a lot of big lines. Sixers and Celtics is double digits. Portland Trailblazers and San Antonio Spurs is double digits. But I'm going to go to the smallest line of the night. I'm going to go with the Lakers plus 4.5 at home. I don't know if they win, but I think they keep it close. Rockets can't shoot worth a lick. Can grab every offensive rebound available, but they cannot shoot. So I'm going to take the Lakers plus 4.5.
So Lakers are going to be dogs every game in the series.
Yeah.
All right.
But yet they'll probably win one.
You're already wrong.
I don't know, man.
They won a game.
Game.
I mean, you didn't expect Durant not to play.
What are you saying I don't know, man, for when you apologized for this yesterday? You said they weren't going to win a game, and they won the first game.
I didn't apologize.
Durant not playing. You said this before you knew their opponent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not true.
Yes, it is. You said it yesterday.
Yes, it is.
How would I know? How would I know they're not going to win a game if I don't know who they're playing against?
You proclaimed this.
What if they were playing against Portland?
You wouldn't have.
You
What are they
proclaimed
playing?
it.
What are they playing? Golden State.
You proclaimed this
They
weeks
would have
ago.
never done that.
It was a decree.
Not only that, we knew number 1, number 2 seeds were locked.
No, I don't
we
know
know
how
the Lakers
standings
could only
shake out.
finish best as 3. You
No.
knew that.
You got to wait 82 games. You got to
Big
see how the
sign
standings shake
of
out.
emotional maturity is being able to admit when you had it wrong. You're an emotional baby.
You didn't apologize for this yesterday?
Why would I
felt-
apologize?
Because you got it wrong, and I thought you were embarrassed, and I went home. Look, late at night, I was questioning everything about things because I allowed you to make a time travel movie, a sci-fi movie. Put it on the poll, by the way. I don't think I've answered this question. Is a time travel movie a sci-fi movie?
Are you apologizing for saying Boricua?
I mean, of course.
You do need to apologize for that.
Of course, it's a time.
So the time
sci-
travel
sci-fi.
genre cannot be its own genre.
It's a subgenre. Do you folks not know subgenres? These are classified in the traditional action, comedy, drama, romance,
Shark movie.
sci-fi. No,
Shark.
It's not on the genre pyramid. Then when you get one of the blocks of sci-fi or horror, then you start peeling back the layers, and you're like, all right, here's a shark. You know
Is
the
it
slasher
demonic
film?
possession?
Do you know
Is
a
it
slasher?
slasher?
You know Halloween.
How about Hitchhiker?
Halloween?
You know
That's
about
a slash-
Halloween?
That's a slasher.
How about
movie.
Scream?
But it's also a horror movie, larger genre.
You mentioned the Lakers.
Per Andrew Marchand of The Athletic, Mike Tomlin is headed to NBC and Football Night in America.
Oh, let me find this here. I'm sorry. That's
Splash.
I was a little slow there. Maybe he'll explain to us the first time there why he left.
You're like
the
a dog
Steelers.
with a bone on this one.
I'm just curious. It really is just unending curiosity. I'd like to hear from somebody who's entertaining and has been a pillar in that sport for a long time. I'm not used to mysteries being involved with how it is that somebody who's never had a losing season leaves quietly and doesn't say anything to anybody.
Don't blink. We blinked first.
That's an upgrade over Dungy, right?
Yes. You mentioned blinking and don't blink first. Why did I see when I walked in today a leaf blower being blown in the face of people with terrible facial hair? And I will get to the basketball from last night in a second because that was a lot of fun. What happened to the New York Knicks last night, what the Atlanta Hawks did last night. But I don't want to get there until I show this competition. And Chris, you're going to have to explain to me what this is.
Chris doesn't know anything. I know, Dan.
Oh, I mean, I saw it too, but go ahead.
This is part and parcel with the basketball from last night. The Cleveland Cavaliers in the middle of the quarter breaks, they'll do little games, and this one was don't blink. The don't blink contest. So what they do is they take a leaf blower and have you open your eyes, and then they spray you with air for as much as possible, and then you have the timer in the bottom corner, and it's like, all right, it's like riding a bull. How long can I stay on this bull? How long can I get a leaf blower blown into my face?
The thing that's interesting about it is the air is blowing so hard that the eyelids are moving.
Yeah,
so
that guy looked like he blinked 10 times.
It's tough to tell when the actual blink happens and what's just your eyelids being pushed back. See, like right here.
He's blinking.
Like that's a bunch. It looks like a bunch of blinks.
He's blinking a lot.
So if you don't watch the show on YouTube and you just watch this on audio, one of the great delights of this video is that both of the people who are having leaf blower blown in their face look like something out of Antiques Roadshow. Like I can't explain to you. They're from the 70s. They've got a pilgrim quality to them. They're unusual looking people with a lot of facial hair.
Big off for it.
Which I think they were purposely selected because they have hair. Like Nick Wright here gets his mouth blown open.
Oh, come on.
Gets his the leaf blower. You guys have heard me say this before. With all the technological advancements happening all around the globe, how is it possible that we have not figured out how to make a quiet leaf blower yet? How is it that the leaf blower is the most inefficient of all the utensils that you use to fix anything? How can we not get a quiet one? It sounds like, I don't know how my cruise ship goes past me quietly, motored by something, but a leaf blower is something that wakes everybody up in the morning.
Well, I'm not surprised that you're not totally up to date on leaf blower technology, but there are battery-powered ones that have a pleasant hum.
Also, you're far away from that cruise ship. It's pretty loud up close.
You're also probably listening to the industrial guy that has the backpack of the leaf blower.
Well, put it on the poll at Batard Show. What's louder, cruise ship or a leaf blower?
I think the leaf blower.
You say I'm far away from it. I feel like I'm far away from the leaf blower because I don't live on the ground. And it wakes me up every morning.
Those are the gas-powered ones. They have quiet ones for your home. They do.
You
never secure the perimeter.
I understand that there are some leaf blowers that are quiet. Why are they never the one outside of my house?
Because those are industrial types.
Exactly. Those are commercial style.
When you have your team of 40 doing your landscaping, they need the gas-powered ones to get through that job quickly.
Exactly.
Those people are both blinking.
Every time you walk home, I imagine there's someone with shears carving an animal into some kind of foliage.
Nudie Magazine Day!
The thing that I had last night, Zaslow, that doesn't happen to me very often, okay? I don't think, never mind sports, I don't think there's anything in the world that does this to me. I think this is my number one, I'm a hater. There's nothing else to be said. I'm just being a hater here. The way the Knicks lost last night, which hasn't happened since Reggie Miller did it to them in the playoffs. That kind of game where they're leading in the fourth quarter and then everything falls apart. They're missing their free throws. They've got a bunch of turnovers. Now everyone's questioning how it is Mike Brown is using Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. And there is just so much noise around the first round of C.J. McCollum took you out. C.J. McCollum is playing the Trae Young role of being the villain in Madison Square Garden when he's one of the sweetest guys in the league and just a great trade for that team in general because they don't have any playoff experience. Not that he has that much, but he's a steady hand, and he dusted the Knicks in that game, even though he missed a couple of free throws that could have cost them the game. So the thing that I wanted to ask you guys is, what is your number one I'm a hater thing? I'm just a hater because I don't think I even have a second one in enjoying the shutting up of that fan base. Now, this is something that comes from the roots of South Florida where I'm just used to, it's not even the Heat-Knicks rivalry from a million years ago. I'm just so used to New Yorkers living in our city while telling us that New York is better while living in our city, that those loud people, I enjoy suffering that particular loss. Where have you seen some of these numbers? They are now 53-1 when leading by 10 entering the fourth quarter.
Of a playoff game, I think, in their history, right?
Yeah, of a playoff game, and the only one there is the Reggie Miller game.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that's the only one. I'm sorry. So now they're 53-2. When they lead by double figures going into the fourth quarter, they win that game at home. And now, this is something that's different about the Knicks now. This has changed about the Knicks. They're the ones with the playoff experience. That team has averaged 50 wins a season the last 4 seasons. That team gets out of the first round now. The noise around the Knicks right now. Do you have something that you hate that you would put at the top of your hater list? Because I really do believe this is the only thing on my hater list, inside or outside of sports.
Everything Boston for me. Boston's number one. I mean, when I was a kid, because the Knicks, obviously, 98, 99, 2000, gave me a lot of pain, and I hated the Knicks so much. But now it's anything Boston. I hate everything Celtics. I hate everything Bruins. I hate Patriots, the Red Sox, anything Boston. I'm rooting for them to be miserable. I love when something goes wrong. And when something goes wrong with those teams, especially the Celtics, I exacerbate it.
What's happening here where I believe you guys would say the same thing? It doesn't happen to me with Boston, and their fan base can be obnoxious too. And very often what happens to Miami is that people find their fan base obnoxious. So this is the thing that happens. But in my case, it's because of all of the New Yorkers in Miami. There aren't a bunch of Bostonians in Miami.
Yeah, but Boston Radio actually went after your dad. Yeah. So you should have something personal at stake there.
Yeah, it's personal when it comes to Boston. I put together a top 5. Oh. Here we go. OLI. Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm with that one.
Really enjoyed this past few months. That was fun. OLI, Tottenham Hotspur. They're always bad, so it's less fun, but they might get relegated, so that's great. And then the Boston Bruins round out our OLI.
It's nice, though, because we absolutely own them.
That's right. Number 5, and there is an epic bottle job coming. Oh, if Arsenal blows this. Manna from heaven. Number 5 is Arsenal. Number 4, I told you, in the name of equality, Angel Reese. Don't look at me like that. Equality means we get to hate people unreasonably. Number 3, Florida State. Number 2, Florida Gators. Number 1, fuck the Boston Celtics.
Fuck the Boston Celtics.
Paul
man.
Pierce sucks.
I would nominate when you show up at a restaurant and you park at the same time as someone, and you're like walking in, but you want to try to speed up and walk faster than them so you can put your name in.
Yeah.
I get a disdain. If I see someone pulling into a restaurant at the same time as me, I become a monster. And I'm like, I got to get out. Drop me off at the thing. Like, I'm always eyeing cars entering a parking lot.
I don't think that's hating.
No, but it is, though. I'm telling you, it's so weird. I'll, like, if I'm pulling in.
But he hates them,
It's before we even get out of the car. I'll tell my wife, don't go park. Pull up to the front so I can beat that person. I just get this thing of, like, if I see you entering the parking lot at the same time as me, I have to beat you inside.
That feeling, that right there, that's me when I watch Angel Reese.
That's not hating. That's hunger.
No, that is just, hey, I'm going to get my name on this list first.
He hates someone sitting before him.
No, but that you guys, I think the reason that
Sometimes I'll like walk past them fast. If they happen to get out of the car and they're walking in casually, I'll just speed walk in.
But you're also thinking in your head, oh man, like they know that I'm trying to beat them. That's in your mind.
Okay, you guys are doing competition and you're also doing, I suppose, hatred, but you're not playing the same game that I'm playing. When you're hating, textbook definition hating is you're enjoying that someone else is suffering. You're not trying to just beat someone.
I get so happy. Me and my wife high five if I beat them in there. She walks in, I'm like, fist me.
You think that person is suffering? You think that person is suffering? Knicks fans couldn't sleep last night. Knicks fans that care about this team wake up in the morning and they feel today like a sickness, like their team's in trouble now. They don't totally trust it. What the hell was that with Karl Anthony Towns late in the game? They're the best fourth quarter team in the league.
Yeah, but I have a 20-minute wait. They have a 25-minute wait.
Dan, these Knicks fans, they're imbeciles, all right? Like, you see these videos that are outside Madison Square Garden. After game number 1, it was like they won the NBA Finals. And guess what? They did it again last night. They're out there just chanting Knicks in 5 now. They just lost. And these imbeciles are out there celebrating and partying Knicks in 5. Dan, they chant during the game, F. Trae Young. It was like 8 years ago.
He's a wizard.
It was a first-round series. It was like Trae Young beat them in the finals. It was a first-round series like 8 years ago. Right. He plays for the Wizards, and they got better without him.
Like, not even a minute ago, you joined me in a Paul Pierce sucks chant.
It's always F. Paul Pierce.
Dan, I think the real true thing of a hater is, can you hate even though the person is successful? It's easy to be a hater when somebody loses. Can you be a hater when somebody wins? And that's where I'm with Wemby. Anything he does, I'm done. I'm done with Wemby.
What?
Like, oh, I'm so good. I could dunk from here. I can do a spin move and a crossover here. Oh, I talk about societal issues. Oh, I'm a monk.
I'm so cultured.
Oh,
there it
I'm
is.
done with this guy.
This guy likes climate change.
No, it's not about climate change. It's about, I got an answer for everything. Portland's good team. Yeah, but he talks like he's Bill Russell.
Wemby thinks he's better than us.
He absolutely does.
He is better than us.
He's French in every way. Exactly right. Hate them too.
But what?
Ooh, they're OLI. Adding the French.
Thank you.
And the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Thank you.
For me, it's for sure the Miami Hurricanes.
We don't think about you at all.
Say you're done with Wemby, because I am.
Why would I be done with Wemby?
Because it's just everything is so perfect. He's Mr. Perfect. Everything. There's nothing wrong with Wemby ever.
Adding another OLI, the Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins Phillies.
There's nothing wrong with Victor Wembanyama ever.
How are the Knicks not on your list anywhere?
They're funny.
Yeah.
They're funny. We are so far removed from that being a rivalry.
They're nothing.
And they haven't meant anything to the Miami Heat since before the 21st century,
No
really.
threat.
Okay,
So
but
yeah.
So you guys, the way you guys are doing that hating though is it's also soaked in some jealousy. That's not what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's how do they affect me?
Mine is pure Schadenfreude. Mine is simply enjoying the suffering of someone else, and I don't do it with anything else. Like there's legitimately, I guess Alabama did some of this to me after Nick Saban started hogging all of the championships. Very faintly though, it isn't anything compared. It isn't anything compared to this, but it's not from the jealousy of they beat me or they've passed me. It's simply just loud New York arrogance, seeing it punctured in a way that is just textbook choking. Because that game last night, Zaslow, what were your takeaways as you did tablet time because you're snoring too much and you're watching too much wrestling, and Tamara says that you've got to watch everything under the covers hidden from her?
I liked it. I was glad that the Hawks, last night, I proclaimed, Dan, coming into the week, NBA playoffs have been a dud. Well, last night took a turn for the better.
You happy now?
I am very happy now. That's right. Give me some road teams. Can you win a game on the road? Minnesota did. Atlanta did. So now we're cooking. And, of course, New York, the way that they blew that game, Jalen Brunson can't defend. Karl Anthony Towns refuses to shoot. Mikal Bridges, hey, missed another jump shot. And Mike Brown, boy, he stinks. I love the Mike Brown, Tom Thibodeau thing, the comparison, okay? Mike Brown stinks. I understand it's easy to go after the coach. He's not a good coach. And just the idea that the Knicks can lose this series, they can't. Just the idea that they could lose this series, can you imagine what the fallout's going to be if New York loses in the first round? That's exciting.
To the Atlanta Hawks, too.
That's exciting.
And the ghost of Trae Young somewhere in Washington, D.C. But the thing is, the most clutch player in the league year in and year out has been Jalen Brunson. He hit some big shots last night. But when it came to, all right, I need this bucket, Nickeil Alexander-Walker took his cookies.
Well, they were just attacking Jalen Brunson
cookies.
every chance they can get, attacking him. Like he was all, I mean, he's not a good defender, not for lack of effort. He's just small.
Okay, he's not a good defender, and neither is Karl Anthony Towns, but Karl Anthony Towns evaporated in that game, and that's where the criticism will go because grande por gusto. Like, the size works for Brunson in this situation and works against Karl Anthony Towns. But you just said Mike Brown's not a good coach. Did he win Coach of the Year in Sacramento, and was that?
He's won it multiple times.
Man, Zaz, Coach of the Year multiple times is not a good coach? Like, you feel comfortable?
It's all about expectations.
Mike Brown, I'll never support bringing, we lost in the conference finals last year. I'm talking about the Knicks. You know what's going to get us over the hump? The guy that the Sacramento Kings don't think is good enough to coach their team. You know what's good enough to get us over the hump?
But he also produced the best season Sacramento's had in 2 decades?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a couple of characters like this in soccer. They burn people out after a season, and that seems to be his forte.
Like Mike Brown's been fired 4 different times. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not hiring a guy to get me to the next step that's been fired 4 times.
They were so happy that it wasn't Thibodeau. They were so done.
Thibodeau's a good coach.
With Thibodeau. Well, hold on a second here. So I'm not disputing that Thibodeau's a good coach, but I also don't think that this Knicks team is going to go any further or any shorter than Thibodeau's teams, even though I believe this Knicks team, and it's empirical, is better than Atlanta. But you can't give up that game in the playoffs. Like, giving up that game that way, that felt like the Halliburton game from last year. And they survived it. They survived the Halliburton game. But to lose when C.J. McCollum cuts your throat, when you're the best fourth quarter team in the league because you have Jalen Brunson.
You're not going to trust a guy who's been fired 3 to 4 times to get you over the hump? Well, I know you didn't start watching the NHL playoffs till the Panthers got good, but Paul Maurice got fired 3 times and effectively was fired in Winnipeg.
They got you.
I don't think it's the same thing in that sport.
What do you mean?
Got you.
I don't think it's the same thing.
In that sport, it's not the same thing because they fire their coaches
all the time.
They do. They
do. You know who the oldest coach in the NBA playoffs is?
Well, I want to guess.
Guess.
Okay, I don't know.
It's fun. It's a fun one. Quinn Snyder.
No
way.
No.
Yeah. The guy that for all the time we've been doing this show, was always known as like the young guy in the suits.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you would have told me he's the youngest guy in the playoffs, I'd have believed you.
Yeah, he's 59 years old. He's the oldest coach in the NBA
Put
playoffs.
it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you believe Quinn Snyder is 59 years old? And also put on the poll, can you believe that Quinn Snyder is the oldest coach in the NBA playoffs? The losing that way, though. You're the best fourth quarter team in the league. Jalen Brunson, you've heard me say, I believe him to be the most beloved Knick there has ever been.
Over Clyde Frazier, yeah.
People disagree with me because they put Clyde Frazier up there. I think the advantage that Jalen Brunson has that Clyde Frazier didn't is he's got the novelty of being undersized. He's got the novelty of bringing them back to prominence after 20 years of awful. And he's a killer in the fourth quarter, like known killer throughout the league, where he's just got just an assortment of all of these memorable things where they just trust him so implicitly. This guy's going to figure out how to bail us out at the end of the game. But we can quibble about that. This is the greatest season of expectations for the Knicks since the beginning of the century.
Yeah.
This Knicks team is now expected to win. It's not what was expected of the others. They've made the playoffs and advanced past the third round 3 straight years. They've averaged 50 wins a season for the last 4 years. They traded Bridges because they thought they needed they traded 4 Bridges, 5 first-round picks because they thought he was a final piece defensively. They love Anunoby because they will bother the Celtics. They will absolutely bother the Celtics with their wing defenders. They've got... That team is built to play against the Celtics. Yeah. It's why they built it that way. It doesn't account for the other things in the league.
That's why they beat them last year.
It doesn't account for OKC. The things that the Knicks did, they traded for Bridges to guard Brown and Tatum on the perimeter. They get smoked by McCollum. They get smoked at home in the fourth quarter. McCollum does to them what Halliburton did to them. And now you bring back the haunting echoes of all that because Atlanta is a team to be feared. They have no playoff experience, but they have this wild athleticism. Like they're clearly a team that if they don't get injured, they're going to keep ascending. This is not your Kyle Korver, Budenholzer wins Coach of the Year, 61-win Hawks. This is not even your Trae Young Hawks. This is young high flyers.
They did at the deadline, though. They added Kuminga and Gabe Vincent, guys with finals experience.
Yeah, they've both been there in the last few years.
And McCollum in that game. Look, he mentioned Alexander Walker. Walker Alexander. I love this guy.
Nickeil Alexander Walker.
You had it.
Nah, for short.
Play on.
Borique.
They added all 3 of those guys.
Nickeil Alexander Walker, before the end of that game, hadn't done much of anything in that series. And now they go back to Atlanta tied 1-1. And I'd be scared if I were the Knicks of the specifics of what that team has. Am I wrong?
I don't think so. Right?
Sorry. I can't stop thinking about how much I hate Angel Reese. What was the question?
You see last year's number 1 overall
like
pick, Reese Shea? He doesn't even play.
Guy's a scrub.
Doesn't even play. Literal DMP CD in the playoffs.
I think the important thing with McCollum is that it's the unlikely hero, especially when he's a guy
I can't believe he's still good.
Got swept in the Western Conference by the Warriors. What was it, 2019? Was that 19?
Don't look at me like I'm some expert on the Blazers.
I forgot. You started watching basketball the other day. But he is the guy that you look around and say, all right, who's going to kill? It's Jalen Johnson. It's going to be Nickeil Alexander Walker. It's going to be anybody here. No, it's going to be that guy who's the oldest guy on the team.
He was so close though to being the scapegoat. He's like
missed a couple of free throws.
He's an 80% free throw shooter. And boy, he missed that second one badly, like almost an air ball. And it was confusing too because we're watching the game, right? And they're rushing up the court because there's only seconds remaining. Why aren't they calling their final timeout? Because it said that they had a timeout on the graphic. And then in the post-game show on NBC, like Maria Taylor came on and clarified they did not have a timeout. Like the graphic was incorrect, so it was confusing.
That messed Nick right up because he said, like, why didn't they call a timeout? And then he deleted the tweet and came out and said, hey, they had a timeout on the graphic on TV.
Why did he delete the tweet?
I don't know.
Because it wasn't his mistake. It was a broadcast mistake.
Right, that's why. So why does he have to delete the tweet
Because then he has to explain it constantly, like we just didn't know.
Stand by
You
your
wouldn't have
tweets.
deleted the tweet, right?
I've never deleted a tweet. Never. I say what I mean what I say. Everybody knows that.
Everyone knows. So you say what you mean what to say. Put it on the poll. Does everyone know that Zaz has 20 minutes a minute what to say?
That's right.
Yo, you snore?
Yeah, man. I'm a grown man. Of course I snore. Like, who does? You don't snore?
Of course
No,
I snore.
I was gonna say,
of course I
No,
snore.
I don't snore.
Roy.
I don't snore.
I got to call a need.
You really got to push that tongue to the roof of your mouth.
Dan, you snore for sure, right?
Yeah, he's got a mask. He's got to have a mask.
You got a mask?
He's got the whole machine.
Oh,
Of course
I was thinking of the mask. How does it work?
It's gotta be
great.
tough to clean.
It's great, right?
It's great.
Is it loud? Louder than that cruise ship?
It's loud.
That's why you
blower.
don't.
Louder than a
That's
leaf
why you don't
blower.
hear the cruise ship.
Louder than a leaf blower. Yes. It just.
You got poor Valerie. You
You're
hear
like a
that
fighter
leaf
jet.
blower? It just takes off his mask. You hear that annoying leaf blower?
It's Darth Vader sleeping next to her.
Her face looks like those people who were in that the blinking competition where I'm snoring so loud that her mouth is blowing open and she can't
That's what he
blink.
thinks is a leaf blower this whole time.
The sleep machine is just extra oxygen that allows you to sleep deeper if you're a snorer. It is a magical device. The other game, though, tonight between the Rockets and the Lakers, one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, because of, I want to call it rarefied air that LeBron occupies, but it's not even rarefied. He's the only one who occupies, I think, the space I'm about to describe anywhere in sports. Maybe Messi does, but I don't think Wembanyama does. I don't think Ohtani does. I don't think anybody else in sports occupies the space I'm about to describe. He's not just the oldest player in the league. He's not just the oldest player in the league who was the centerpiece of the Lakers winning a playoff game. He wasn't the secondary player. He's not the third player. He's the oldest player in the league and the star of the team winning a playoff game while playing with his son. Not only that, though, that playoff game means that since 1995, LeBron James has won more playoff games than the Spurs. LeBron James has won more playoff games than the Lakers. Since 1995, LeBron James has won more playoff games than the Miami Heat, than the Boston Celtics. No person or team has done as much winning since 1995 of playoff games as the singular person, LeBron James, who did it as the oldest player in the league. And the thing I think it makes him rarer than anyone else in this age of mastery throughout sports is that I think he's lost the ability to impress us with anything he does because we're losing sight of all the things that I just said, which are crazy. As the oldest player in the league, man, I remember what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan looked like at the end of their careers. They could not win a playoff game as the primary player against anybody, whether Kevin Durant was on or not, and they were younger. They were younger than LeBron. Can you look up for me what Kareem was doing at the end when all he could do was the sky hook and he wasn't the principal player? And I don't think I have it wrong when I think in his last season, whatever the age was, he wasn't very much of a scorer. He could just be taller than everyone else. I think Ohtani can still awe us. I think Wembanyama can still awe us. I think LeBron can't. We're too used to being awed by him.
If the Lakers win this series, we are going to be in awe of LeBron. Okay, they won game one, and maybe as an underdog again, they'll win game two tonight. But if they knock off Houston, we're going to have to be in awe of him at 41 leading that team.
You most certainly will have to be.
To a series victory.
I said before that series was played, given that his top two guys are out, it would be the most impressive thing of his career if he won a first-round playoff series against Houston as the oldest player in the league. And I think the oldest player in the league by miles.
by far. Cap at the end was 41 years old, 10 points, 4.5 rebounds a game on 47% shooting from the field in 22 minutes.
Time to hang it up.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
A little bit of a compiler, it turns out.
Compiler.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 points a game because all he could do, he was creaking.
How does he get 4 boards in 22 minutes?
6 MVPs, though.
I don't know.
Not that season.
Handful of championships.
I never saw him. I think he's bad now.
I would argue that Ohtani's in this category, though.
That's right.
Like, Ohtani is just like, what more can he do at this point? He's dominating pitching. He's leading the league in home runs. People are calling him Babe Ruth.
I don't agree.
Coming through in the postseason.
I don't agree.
Last year in a game against the Marlins, I thought we were awed by whatever it was, 10 RBI and 3 home runs. I thought that was awe-inspiring just last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to find. I'm going around all the other sports, and all the best players can still impress me. For me, this is a LeBron. I'm with you. I'm not finding anyone better than LeBron. I'm saying Ohtani's probably the closest.
When Ohtani pitches, 8 shutout innings and also hits a home run in the game, you're not in awe.
No, it does still get you.
Yeah,
I could play that. I could play that game where if LeBron has a triple double tonight, like that doesn't impress you.
Well, I just think, though, that all of the things that I just said to you, like the factors, right? The skipping past, played a playoff game with his son, is still better at basketball than his son, who's an NBA basketball player.
But is he?
His son, who's an NBA basketball player because his father's LeBron.
Did you see that video? I don't know how decontextualized it is of what appears to be, and there have been lip readers like assessing what was said, but it appears like Udoka's turning to JJ Redick and pleading with him to put in Bronny.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I remember that. Udoka really doesn't like LeBron. Like you've seen there have been other games the way that Udoka speaks to LeBron.
His players, though, appear to be in awe here. Can you show me Şengün here? Can you show me what he was doing on the sideline?
He's sitting on the bench, and you see LeBron walks by, and he clearly perks up, stands up, and then looks up at LeBron, and LeBron walks back.
Wanted eye contact. An all-star simply wanted eye contact.
We can run it again. He's sitting here. He's looking for something in his pocket, and then he just kind of, and stands at attention for LeBron. And everyone on the internet kind of had fun with this video of like, wow, look at him paying the ultimate respects to LeBron. And then he was asked about it, and he's denying it. We're going to pull up the video where he can explain himself here.
Oh, but the way that we can play that video, but the way that he looked at him at the corner of his eye, it feels like...
and the way he perked up.
Yeah, it feels like he just is desperate for eye contact. Let's hear the explanation here.
Talk about the viral video that's going around with you stood up when LeBron walked by.
Yeah, I just saw that video today. I mean, everybody was sending to me too, but it's kind of funny. I mean, I was just trying to get something out of my pocket. That's why I got up. I mean, no disrespect to LeBron, of course, respect him, but I just stood up for him. It was just something I was getting out of my pocket.
I don't believe him. And now I know in the video he's clearly is reaching for something in his pocket, but that doesn't explain his body. Like he jerks, he looks up at LeBron and he stands up like, oh. He's not even reaching for in the pocket anymore. Once he stands up, he's not even reaching.
Cool part of that vid is everybody in the background also standing up because they see LeBron walking over. But this is what tall guys do. You're not going to alpha me. Yeah. You're not going to. When you walk past me, I'm taller.
I just am going to keep saying oldest player in the league because when I think in any sport of oldest player in the league, I think of people like Jamie Moyer. I think of like Morton Anderson.
Oh, he was on that Ryan Howard team that I hated so much.
But I'm thinking like Charlie Huff. I'm you know what?
46 years old, complete game.
I'm just thinking of like old kickers.
Like a wrinkly guy with white chest hair.
Just
Gordie Howe.
Somebody.
Tom Brady's filler.
Somebody who's just wandering around out there, not able to beat the young Houston Rockets in a playoff game with efficiency.
I think of Ovechkin, even though he's much younger than he looks.
No, the part that got me with what you said, Dan, was there's an 8-year head start for all of those franchises. He wasn't drafted until 2003, and 1995 was the year I was born. So in my lifetime, LeBron James has more playoff wins than any singular NBA franchise. That's insane.
It is, but it's also a bit of a rhetorical trick because here's the number, okay? It's 185. Then the Spurs are at 184. The Lakers are at 172. Playoff games won since 1995. The Heat then are at 161 with Derek Fisher. Then the Celtics at 158. Then Tim Duncan at 157. But those guys, it helps that Derek Fisher went from the Lakers to the Spurs. It allowed him to win with both of those teams. It's still a crazy thing to lay out in front of you, though. Still an all-star, oldest player in the league, playing a playoff game with his son, and as the centerpiece of the team at an age when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was averaging 10 points a game and 4 rebounds in 22 minutes. He's playing the brunt of the minutes, and everything is working through him because he's the only thing that they have offensively. You guys don't agree with the assessment that there is nothing that he can do at this point? I suppose if he wins another title as the oldest player in the league, that would be something that would astound.
Yeah,
but once,
that would be because it would affect the start times, which is you're asking what else he can do. Maybe move to an East Coast team. It's hard to keep up with the achievements. These games are late.
Doesn't bother me. I get to stay up as late as I want.
You're a big boy.
Provided it's on a tablet.
I am a big boy.
Derek Fisher, never a Spur, by the way.
You confuse him with Robert Ory.
Oh, mother. But
it's fine.
Alexander Walker! Walker Alexander! Borica!
Boricue.
Borica!
Boricue.